Okay, hi, I'm Luke, currently the interim secretary setting up the Point Lookout Fishing Club, and I'm just recording this to do a read through of the Constitution. And if we read aloud.
Table of Contents. 1.
Let's actually skip the Constitution, the Table of Contents, and go straight to the interpretation. Now, there are a couple of errors. This is version 0.3, and it takes about 45 minutes, give or take, for the reader to read through this. And hopefully you can go through that with us and get a notepad and pen and make a note of anything that you don't understand or you think needs to be changed, or even things that you like, so that by the time we get to the meeting on the 1st of October, at least quite a few of us have gone through and we've got a better set of rules that everyone's going to consent and then vote on the AGM when we're voting for our committee members and the rules. Then we can get our bank account. So we've already got an ABN, we've already got a tax file number. We need to incorporate and get a bank account. So we need these rules set, we need our committee voted on, and then we can move forward and start with all of the events and all of the fun stuff. So please set aside 45 minutes to an hour to go through these rules, and then everything will be sweet for our meetup, and we'll move ahead.
Interpretation. In these rules, Act means the Associations Incorporation Act 1981. Present. At a management committee meeting, see Rule 23(6), or at a general meeting, see Rule 37(2). A word or expression that is not defined in these model rules, but is defined in the Act has, if the context permits, the meaning given by the Act. 2. Name. The name of the incorporated association is Point Lookout Fishing Club Incorporated, in these rules called the Association. 3. Objects. The objects of the association are: A. Promote and foster the sport of recreational fishing in and around North Stradbroke Island, and B. Organize and conduct fishing competitions, including regular local events, and an annual marquee competition, and C. Educate members on sustainable fishing practices and marine conservation, and D. Contribute to the preservation and enhancement of marine ecosystems through conservation efforts and partnerships, and E. Provide a social platform for members to share knowledge, experiences, and camaraderie, and F. Integrate modern technology, including AI assistance, to enhance club operations and member experiences, and G. Support the local community of North Stradbroke Island through responsible tourism and economic activities.
Now, if you've got any other suggestions that you want us to add to the aims of the club, then please take note and provide them. But I think this has got a pretty broad coverage that'll allow us to do a lot of things.
4. Powers. The association has the powers of an individual. The association may, for example, enter into contracts and acquire, hold, deal with and dispose of property, and make charges for services and facilities it supplies, and do other things necessary or convenient to be done in carrying out its affairs. The association may take over the funds and other assets and liabilities of the present unincorporated association known as the Point Lookout Fishing Club, the unincorporated association. The association may also issue secured and unsecured notes, debentures and debenture stock for the association. The association may utilize appropriate digital platforms and AI assistance to enhance club operations, member experiences, and achievement of club objectives, provided that the use of such technologies complies with relevant privacy and data protection laws, and members are provided with guidance on how to access and use the association's digital platforms and AI assistance, and the management committee ensures regular review and approval of the association's digital strategy and use of AI assistance.
And just for notice, anything that's in a highlighted yellow or red highlight is something that I've added or edited from the model rules that the government provides as a basis for setting up these kinds of organizations. You get a template and then you have to customize the template, but you have to stay within the rules of the act mentioned at the beginning, that is a federal law or a Queensland state law. I'm not sure which at the moment, but yeah, so when we vote on these rules, they have to go to another national association and they will work out whether our rules stay within the rules of the government, which I'm pretty certain they do. But yeah, so anything highlighted, that's been edited, and anything that's not highlighted, that is basically the model rules as given by the government for people to customize.
5 classes of members. The membership of the association consists of ordinary members and any of the following classes of members. A. Founder Lifetime Member, Island Resident. B. Founder Lifetime Member, Non-Resident. C. Annual Adult Member, Island Resident. D. Annual Adult Member, Non-Resident. E. Annual Cadet Member, Island Resident. F. Annual Cadet Member, Non-Resident. G. Annual Junior Member, Island Resident. H. Annual Junior Member, Non-Resident. The number of ordinary members is unlimited. Voting power distribution. A. Island resident members, founder lifetime, and annual adult 70% of total voting power. B. Executive committee, 10% of total voting power. C. Non-resident members, founder lifetime, and annual adult 20% of total voting power. 3. Voting rights. A. Each island resident member's vote will be weighted to collectively represent 70% of the voting power. B. Each executive committee member's vote will be weighted to collectively represent 10% of the voting power. C. Each non-resident member's vote will be weighted to collectively represent 20% of the voting power. D. Junior members and cadet members, both island resident and non-resident, do not have voting rights. 4. Decision making.
So that the juniors and cadet members are all under 18, and the no voting rights is in line with not being able to vote in government elections. So that's basically what it starts with, and in the model rules, I'm not sure whether we're able to change that or what, but yeah, I just stayed in line with what was already in the model, but customized it with the different types of memberships that we have.
A. For routine decisions, a simple majority, more than 50%, of the weighted votes is required. B. For major decisions affecting club governance, financial commitments exceeding specified amount to be set after official committee is elected, or changes to the constitution, a 2/3 majority of the weighted votes is required. 6. Automatic membership. A person who, on the day the association is incorporated, was a member of the unincorporated association and who, on or before a day fixed by the management committee, agrees in writing to become a member of the incorporated association, must be admitted by the management committee to the equivalent class of membership of the association as the member held in the unincorporated association, or, if there is no equivalent class of membership, as an ordinary member. 7. New membership. An application for membership must be in writing and signed by the applicant and in the form decided by the management committee. 8. Membership fees. The membership fee for each ordinary membership and for each other class of membership, if any, is the amount decided by the members from time to time at a general meeting and is payable when, and in the way, the management committee decides. The management committee may set different fee structures for island resident and non-resident members, as well as for individual founder lifetime, annual adult, and annual junior memberships, as well as group discounts on a case-by-case basis. 9. Admission and rejection of new members. The management committee must consider an application for membership at the next committee meeting held after it receives the application for membership and the appropriate membership fee for the application. The management committee must ensure that, as soon as possible after the person applies to become a member of the association, and before the management committee considers the person's application, the person is advised whether or not the association has public liability insurance, and, if the association has public liability insurance, the amount of the insurance. The management committee must decide at the meeting whether to accept or reject the application. If a majority of the members of the management committee present at the meeting vote to accept the applicant as a member, the applicant must be accepted as a member for the class of membership applied for. The secretary of the association must, as soon as practicable, after the management committee decides to accept or reject an application, give the applicant a written notice of the decision. The management committee may, in accordance with these rules, suspend or terminate the membership of any member of the association. 10. Membership suspension. The management committee may suspend a member's membership if the member breaches any of the association's rules or bylaws, acts in a manner considered injurious or prejudicial to the character or interests of the association, fails to comply with any legal written direction given by the management committee. Before suspending a member's membership, the management committee must give the member a written notice of the proposed suspension and the grounds on which it is based, a reasonable opportunity to make written and/or oral representations to the management committee before the suspension decision is made. After considering any representations made by the member, the management committee may, by resolution, suspend the member's membership for a specified period not exceeding 6 months, or decline to suspend the member's membership. The secretary must give the member written notice of the committee's decision within 7 days after the decision is made. The suspension takes effect on the date specified in the notice given under Sub-Rule 4. During the period of suspension, the member loses their rights, including voting rights, as a member, is not entitled to a refund, rebate, relief or credit for membership fees paid, or payable, to the association, remains subject to the same obligations as other members. The management committee may, by resolution, reinstate the member's membership before the end of the suspension period if it considers it appropriate to do so. A member whose membership has been suspended may appeal against the suspension under Rule 12, as if the suspension were a termination of membership. This rule applies in addition to, and does not limit, the association's powers under other rules, including Rule 11, when membership ends. 11. When membership ends, a member may resign from the association by giving a written notice of resignation to the secretary. The resignation takes effect at the time the notice is received by the secretary, or If a later time is stated in the notice, the later time. The Management Committee may terminate a member's membership if the member is convicted of an indictable offence, or does not comply with any of the provisions of these rules, or has membership fees in arrears for at least 2 months, conducts himself or herself in a way considered to be injurious or prejudicial to the character or interests of the association. Before the Management Committee terminates a member's membership, the committee must give the member a full and fair opportunity to show why the membership should not be terminated. If, after considering all representations made by the member, the Management Committee decides to terminate the membership, the Secretary of the committee must give the member a written notice of the decision. 11. Appeal against rejection or termination of membership. A person whose application for membership has been rejected, or whose membership has been terminated, may give the Secretary written notice of the person's intention to appeal against the decision. A notice of intention to appeal must be given to the Secretary within 1 month after the person receives written notice of the decision. If the Secretary receives a notice of intention to appeal, the Secretary must, within 1 month after receiving the notice, call a general meeting to decide the appeal. 12. General meeting to decide appeal. The general meeting to decide an appeal must be held within 3 months after the Secretary receives the notice of intention to appeal. At the meeting, the applicant must be given a full and fair opportunity to show why the application should not be rejected or the membership should not be terminated. Also, the Management Committee and the members of the committee who rejected the application or terminated the membership must be given a full and fair opportunity to show why the application should be rejected or the membership should be terminated. An appeal must be decided by a majority vote of the members present and eligible to vote at the meeting. If a person whose application for membership has been rejected does not appeal against the decision within 1 month after receiving written notice of the decision, or the person appeals, but the appeal is unsuccessful, the Secretary must, as soon as practicable, refund the membership fee paid by the person. 13. Register of members. The Management Committee must keep a register of members of the association. The register must include the following particulars for each member: the full name of the member, the postal or residential address of the member, the date of admission as a member, details of any suspensions and reinstatement of membership, the date of death or time of resignation of the member, details about the termination or reinstatement of membership, the membership class of the member. For island resident members, the date of last residency verification. Any other particulars the Management Committee or the members at a general meeting decide. The register must be open for inspection by members of the association at all reasonable times. A member must contact the Secretary to arrange an inspection of the register. However, the Management Committee may, on the application of a member of the association, withhold information about the member, other than the member's full name, from the register available for inspection, if the Management Committee has reasonable grounds for believing the disclosure of the information would put the member at risk of harm. 14. Prohibition on use of information on register of members. A member of the association must not use information obtained from the register of members of the association to contact, or send material to, another member of the association for the purpose of advertising for political, religious, charitable, or commercial purposes, or disclose information obtained from the register to someone else, knowing that the information is likely to be used to contact, or send material to, another member of the association for the purpose of advertising for political, religious, charitable, or commercial purposes. Subrule 1 does not apply if the use or disclosure of the information is approved by the association. 15. Appointment or election of Secretary. The Secretary must be an adult, island resident on North Stradbroke Island, who is a member of the association elected by the association as Secretary, or any of the following persons appointed by the Management Committee as Secretary: A member of the association's management committee. Another member of the association. If the association has not elected an interim officer as secretary for the association before its incorporation, the members of the management committee must ensure a secretary is appointed or elected for the association within 1 month after incorporation. If a vacancy happens in the office of secretary, the members of the management committee must ensure a secretary is appointed or elected for the association within 1 month after the vacancy happens. If the management committee appoints a person mentioned in Sub-Rule 1(b)(2) as secretary, other than to fill a casual vacancy on the management committee, the person does not become a member of the management committee. However, if the management committee appoints a person mentioned in Sub-Rule 1(b)(2) as secretary to fill a casual vacancy on the management committee, the person becomes a member of the management committee. If the management committee appoints a person mentioned in Sub-Rule 1(b)(3) as secretary, the person does not become a member of the management committee. In this rule, casual vacancy on a management committee means a vacancy that happens when an elected member of the management committee resigns, dies, or otherwise stops holding office. 16. Removal of secretary. The management committee of the association may at any time remove a person appointed by the committee as the secretary. If the management committee removes a secretary, who is a person mentioned in Rule 15(1)(bi), the person remains a member of the management committee. If the management committee removes a secretary, who is a person mentioned in Rule 15(1)(b)(2), and who has been appointed to a casual vacancy on the management committee under Rule 15(5), the person remains a member of the management committee. 17. Functions of secretary. The secretary's functions include, but are not limited to, calling meetings of the association, including preparing notices of a meeting and of the business to be conducted at the meeting in consultation with the president of the association, and keeping minutes of each meeting, and keeping copies of all correspondence and other documents relating to the association, and maintaining the register of members of the association, and overseeing the use of digital platforms and AI assistance in club operations, and ensuring proper implementation of the weighted voting system for all applicable decisions. 18. Membership of Management Committee. The Management Committee of the Association consists of a President, Treasurer, and any other members the Association members elect at a general meeting. A member of the Management Committee must be a member of the Association. At each annual general meeting of the Association, the members of the Management Committee must retire from office, but are eligible, on nomination, for re-election. A member of the association may be appointed to a casual vacancy on the Management Committee under Rule 21. 19. Electing the Management Committee. A member of the Management Committee may only be elected as follows. Any 2 members of the association may nominate another member, the candidate, to serve as a member of the Management Committee. The nomination must be in writing, and signed by the candidate and the members who nominated him or her, and given to the secretary at least 14 days before the annual general meeting at which the election is to be held. Each member of the association present and eligible to vote at the annual general meeting may vote for 1 candidate for each vacant position on the management committee.
So, just a note, for this very first one, we're not going to stick to the at least 14 days before the AGM. We're pretty much just going to open it now, like this weekend, the 21st, 22nd. I'm going to send out the email with this video and a copy of the rules. Also the nomination forms, if anyone's interested in nominating themselves or someone else. There's a Google form that'll be sent with this, and so yeah, we'll be ignoring this at least 14 days because we're going to do it at the October meeting, and yeah, but in future nominations have to be in at least 14 days before the AGM.
If, at the start of the meeting, there are not enough candidates nominated, nominations may be taken from the floor of the meeting. A person may be a candidate only if the person is an adult and is not ineligible to be elected as a member under Section 61A of the Act. A list of the candidates' names in alphabetical order, with the names of the members who nominated each candidate, must be posted in a conspicuous place in the office or usual place of meeting of the association for at least 7 days immediately preceding the annual general meeting. If required by the management committee, balloting lists must be prepared containing the names of the candidates in alphabetical order. The management committee must ensure that, before a candidate is elected as a member of the management committee, the candidate is advised whether or not the association has public liability insurance, and if the association has public liability insurance, the amount of the insurance, the insurer, and how to access the insurance policy document if they wish to read it. 20. Resignation, removal or vacation of office of management committee member. A member of the management committee may resign from the committee by giving written notice of resignation to the secretary. The resignation takes effect at the time the notice is received by the secretary, or, if a later time is stated in the notice, the later time. A member may be removed from office at a general meeting of the association if a majority of the members present and eligible to vote at the meeting vote in favor of removing the member. Before a vote of members is taken about removing the member from office, the member must be given a full and fair opportunity to show cause why he or she should not be removed from office. A member has no right of appeal against the member's removal from office under this rule. A member immediately vacates the office of member in the circumstances mentioned in Section 64(2) of the Act. 21. Vacancies on Management Committee. If a casual vacancy happens on the Management Committee, the continuing members of the committee may appoint another member of the association to fill the vacancy until the next annual general meeting. The continuing members of the Management Committee may act despite a casual vacancy on the Management Committee. However, if the number of committee members is less than the number fixed under Rule 24(1), as a quorum of the Management Committee, the continuing members may act only to increase the number of Management Committee members to the number required for a quorum, or call a general meeting of the association. 22. Functions of Management Committee. Subject to these rules or a resolution of the members of the association carried at a general meeting, the Management Committee has the general control and management of the administration of the affairs, property and funds of the association. The Management Committee has authority to interpret the meaning of these rules and any matter relating to the association, on which the rules are silent, but any interpretation must have regard to the Act, including any regulation made under the Act. Note: the Act prevails if the association's rules are inconsistent with the Act. See Section 1D of the Act. The Management Committee may exercise the powers of the association to borrow, raise or secure the payment of amounts in a way the members of the association decide, and to secure the amounts mentioned in paragraph A, or the payment or performance of any debt, liability, contract, guarantee, or other engagement incurred, or to be entered into by the association in any way, including by the issue of debentures, perpetual or otherwise, charged upon the whole or part of the association's property, both present and future, and to purchase, redeem or pay off any securities issued, and to borrow amounts from members and pay interest on the amounts borrowed, and to mortgage or charge the whole or part of its property, and to issue debentures and other securities, whether outright or as security for any debt, liability or obligation of the association, and to provide and pay off any securities issued, and to invest in a way the members of the association may from time to time decide. For Subrule 3D, the rate of interest must not be more than the current rate being charged for overdrawn accounts on money lent, regardless of the term of the loan, by a. the financial institution for the association, or b. if there is more than one financial institution for the association, the financial institution nominated by the Management Committee. 23 Meetings of Management Committee. Subject to this rule, the Management Committee may meet and conduct its proceedings as it considers appropriate. Note: see also Sections 70B and 70C of the Act about requirements relating to the proceedings of the Management Committee if a member of the committee has a material personal interest in a matter being considered at a meeting of the committee. The Management Committee must meet at least once every 4 months to exercise its functions. The Management Committee must decide how a meeting is to be called. Notice of a meeting is to be given in the way decided by the Management Committee. The Management Committee may hold meetings, or permit a committee member to take part in its meetings, by using any technology that reasonably allows the member to hear and take part in discussions as they happen. A committee member, who participates in the meeting as mentioned in Sub-Rule 5, is taken to be present at the meeting. A question.
Now, those should also be highlighted because they've been added in, because we're going to enable people to attend our meetings via Zoom, committee and general members. So we'll also provide some training videos so that anyone that's not very tech savvy can just click a link and follow and feel confident that they're not missing out. We'll help you get on the bandwagon.
Arising at a committee meeting is to be decided by a majority vote of members of the committee present at the meeting, and if the votes are equal, the question is decided in the negative. The President is to preside as chairperson at a Management Committee meeting. If there is no President, or if the President is not present within 10 minutes after the time fixed for a Management Committee meeting, the members may choose one of their number to preside as chairperson at the meeting. 24 Quorum for an adjournment of Management Committee meeting. At a Management Committee meeting, more than 50% of the members elected to the committee, as at the close of the last general meeting of the members, form a quorum. If there is no quorum within 30 minutes after the time fixed for a Management Committee meeting called on the request of members of the committee, the meeting lapses. If there is no quorum within 30 minutes after the time fixed for a Management Committee meeting called other than on the request of the members of the committee, the meeting is to be adjourned for at least 1 day, and the members of the Management Committee who are present are to decide the day, time and place of the adjourned meeting. If, at an adjourned meeting mentioned in Sub-Rule 3, there is no quorum within 30 minutes after the time fixed for the meeting lapses. 25 Special Meeting of Management Committee. If the Secretary receives a written request signed by at least 33% of the members of the Management Committee, the Secretary must call a special meeting of the committee by giving each member of the committee notice of the meeting within 14 days after the Secretary receives the request. If the Secretary is unable or unwilling to call the special meeting, the President must call the meeting. A request for a special meeting must state why the special meeting is called, and the business to be conducted at the meeting. A notice of a special meeting must state the day, time and place of the meeting, and the business to be conducted at the meeting. A special meeting of the Management Committee must be held within 14 days after notice of the meeting is given to the members of the Management Committee. 26 minutes of Management Committee meetings. The Secretary must ensure full and accurate minutes of all questions, matters, resolutions, and other proceedings of each Management Committee meeting are entered in a minute book and/or database. To ensure the accuracy of the minutes of each Management Committee meeting must be signed off on by the chairperson of the meeting, or the chairperson of the next Management Committee meeting, verifying their accuracy. 27 Appointment of subcommittees. The Management Committee may appoint a subcommittee consisting of members of the association considered appropriate by the committee to help with the conduct of the association's operations. A member of the subcommittee, who is not a member of the Management Committee, is not entitled to vote at a Management Committee meeting. A subcommittee may elect a chairperson of its meetings. If a chairperson is not elected, or if the chairperson is not present within 10 minutes after the time fixed for a meeting, the members present may choose one of their number to be chairperson of the meeting.
So subcommittees could be for anything, could be for our conservation efforts, could be for the inclusion of the spearfishing division of fishers that at the last meeting we set them the challenge to find out about insurance regarding the inclusion in the club. And so yeah, we can have any manner of subcommittees, and at the meeting you can bring that up if you want to suggest our first subcommittees.
A subcommittee may meet and adjourn as it considers appropriate. A question arising at a subcommittee meeting is to be decided by a majority vote of the members present at the meeting, and if the votes are equal, the question is decided in the negative. 28 Acts not affected by defects or disqualifications. An act performed by the Management Committee, a subcommittee, or a person acting as a member of the Management Committee is taken to have been validly performed. Sub-Rule 1 applies even if the act was performed when there was a defect in the appointment of a member of the Management Committee, subcommittee or person acting as a member of the Management Committee, or a Management Committee member, subcommittee member or person acting as a member of the Management Committee was disqualified from being a member. 29 Resolutions of Management Committee without meeting. A written resolution signed by each member of the Management Committee is as valid and effectual as if it had been passed at a committee meeting that was properly called and held. A resolution mentioned in Sub-Rule 1 may consist of several documents in like form, each signed by one or more members of the committee.
And so this can also be attributed to WhatsApp groups or a Google form, online documents, as long as there's written record and everyone is in agreement, then it can be used.
31st Annual General Meeting. The first annual general meeting must be held within 6 months after the end date of the association's first reportable financial year. 31 subsequent annual general meetings. Each subsequent annual general meeting must be held at least once each year and within 6 months after the end date of the association's reportable financial year. 31 A Management Committee members to be elected at annual general meeting. The association must elect the members of the Management Committee at each annual general meeting of the association. 32 Other business for annual general meeting of large, incorporated associations, and particular medium and small incorporated associations. This rule applies if the association is a large incorporated association, to which sections 59A and 59AA of the Act apply, or a medium incorporated association, to which sections 59A and 59AA of the Act apply, or a small incorporated association, to which sections 59A and 59AA of the Act apply. The following business must be conducted at each annual general meeting of the association: receiving the association's financial statement and audit report for the last reportable financial year, presenting the financial statement and audit report to the meeting for adoption. For a large incorporated association, appointing an auditor or an accountant for the present financial year. For a medium or small incorporated association, appointing an auditor, an accountant, or an approved person for the present financial year. 33 Other business for annual general meeting of other medium incorporated associations. This rule applies if the association is a medium incorporated association, to which sections 59A and 59AB of the Act apply. The following business must be conducted at each annual general meeting of the association: receiving the association's financial statement and verification statement for the last reportable financial year, presenting the financial statement and verification statement to the meeting for adoption, appointing an auditor, an accountant, or an approved person for the present financial year. 34 Other business for annual general meeting of other small incorporated associations. This rule applies if the association is a small, incorporated association, to which sections 59A and 59AB of the Act apply. The following business must be conducted at each annual general meeting of the association: receiving the association's financial statement and verification statement for the last reportable financial year, presenting the financial statement and verification statement to the meeting for adoption. 35 Notice of general meeting. The Secretary may call a general meeting of the association. The Secretary must give at least 14 days notice of the meeting to each member of the association. If the Secretary is unable or unwilling to call the meeting, the President must call the meeting. The Management Committee may decide the way in which the notice must be given. However, notice of the following meetings must be given in writing: a meeting called to hear and decide the appeal of a person against the Management Committee's decision, to reject the person's application for membership of the association, or to terminate the person's membership of the association. A meeting called to hear and decide a proposed special resolution of the association. A notice of a general meeting must state the business to be conducted at the meeting. 36 Quorum for an adjournment of general meeting. The quorum for a general meeting is at least the number of members elected or appointed to the Management Committee at the close of the association's last general meeting plus one. However, if all members of the association are members of the Management Committee, the quorum is the total number of members less one. No business may be conducted at a general meeting unless there is a quorum of members when the meeting proceeds to business. If there is no quorum within 30 minutes after the time fixed for a general meeting called on the request of members of the Management Committee or the association, the meeting lapses. If there is no quorum within 30 minutes after the time fixed for a general meeting called other than on the request of members of the Management Committee or the association, A. The meeting is to be adjourned for at least 7 days, and B. The Management Committee is to decide the day, time and place of the adjourned meeting. The chairperson may, with the consent of any meeting at which there is a quorum, and must if directed by the meeting, adjourn the meeting from time to time and from place to place. If a meeting is adjourned under Sub-Rule 6, only the business left unfinished at the meeting from which the adjournment took place may be conducted at the adjourned meeting. The Secretary is not required to give the members notice of an adjournment or of the business to be conducted at an adjourned meeting unless a meeting is adjourned for at least 30 days. If a meeting is adjourned for at least 30 days, notice of the adjourned meeting must be given in the same way notice is given for an original meeting. 37 Procedure at general meeting. A member may take part and vote in a general meeting in person, by proxy, by attorney or by using any technology that reasonably allows the member to hear and take part in discussions as they happen.
However, I've just noticed an error. We're not having proxy votes. That has been removed from earlier sections and replaced with the Zoom meetings. So, no proxy votes. That'll be removed. Section 37(1). Moving on.
A member who participates in a meeting as mentioned in Sub-Rule 1 is taken to be present at the meeting. At each general meeting, the President is to preside as chairperson, and If there is no president, or if the president is not present within 15 minutes after the time fixed for the meeting or is unwilling to act, the members present must elect one of their number to be chairperson of the meeting, and the chairperson must conduct the meeting in a proper and orderly way. 38. Voting at general meeting. At a general meeting, each question, matter or resolution, other than a special resolution, must be decided by a majority of votes of the members present. Each member present and eligible to vote is entitled to one vote only, and if the votes are equal, the chairperson has a casting vote as well as a primary vote. A member is not entitled to vote at a general meeting if the member's annual subscription is in arrears at the date of the meeting. The method of voting is to be decided by the management committee. However, if at least 20% of the members present demand a secret ballot, voting must be by secret ballot. If a secret ballot is held, the chairperson must appoint 2 members to conduct the secret ballot in the way the chairperson decides. The result of a secret ballot, as declared by the chairperson, is taken to be a resolution of the meeting at which the ballot was held. 39. Special General Meeting. 1. The Secretary must call a special general meeting by giving each member of the association notice of the meeting within 14 days after A. Being directed to call the meeting by the management committee, or B. Being given a written request signed by at least 33% of the number of members of the management committee when the request is signed, or at least the number of ordinary members of the association equal to double the number of members of the association on the management committee when the request is signed plus 1, or C. Being given a written notice of an intention to appeal against the decision of the management committee. I. To reject an application for membership, or 2. To terminate a person's membership. A request mentioned in Sub-Rule 1b must state why the special general meeting is being called, and b. the business to be conducted at the meeting. A special general meeting must be held within 3 months after the Secretary is directed to call the meeting by the management committee, or is given the written request mentioned in Sub-Rule 1b, or is given the written notice of an intention to appeal mentioned in Sub-Rule 1c. If the Secretary is unable or unwilling to call the special meeting, the President must call the meeting. 40. Proxies. Due to the inclusion of digital infrastructure, such as the Internet and video conferencing in our meetings, proxy votes are not allowed. 41 minutes of general meetings. The Secretary must ensure full and accurate minutes of all questions, matters, resolutions, and other proceedings of each general meeting are entered in a minute book. To ensure the accuracy of the minutes, the minutes of each general meeting must be signed by the chairperson of the meeting, or the chairperson of the next general meeting, verifying their accuracy, and the minutes of each annual general meeting must be signed by the chairperson of the meeting, or the chairperson of the next meeting of the association, that is a general meeting or annual general meeting, verifying their accuracy. If asked by a member of the association, the Secretary must, within 28 days after the request is made, make the minute book for a particular general meeting available for inspection by the member at a mutually agreed time and place, and give the member copies of the minutes of the meeting. The association may require the member to pay the reasonable costs of providing copies of the minutes. 42. Bylaws. The management committee may make, amend or repeal bylaws, not inconsistent with these rules, for the internal management of the association. A bylaw may be set aside by a vote of members at a general meeting of the association. 43. Alteration of rules. Subject to the Act, these rules may be amended, repealed or added to by a special resolution carried at a general meeting. However, an amendment, repeal or addition is valid only if it is registered by the Chief Executive. 44. Funds and accounts. The funds of the association must be kept in an account in the name of the association in a financial institution decided by the management committee. Records and accounts must be kept in the English language showing full and accurate particulars of the financial affairs of the association. All amounts must be deposited in the financial institution account as soon as practicable after receipt. A payment by the association of $100 or more must be made by check or electronic funds transfer. If a payment of $100 or more is made by check, the check must be signed by any two of the following: the President, the Secretary, the Treasurer, any one of three other members of the association who have been authorized by the Management Committee to sign checks issued by the association. However, one of the persons who signs the check must be the President, the Secretary, or the Treasurer. Checks, other than checks for wages, allowances or petty cash recoupment, must be crossed not negotiable. A petty cash account must be kept on the Impress system, and the Management Committee must decide the amount of petty cash to be kept in the account. All expenditure must be approved or ratified at a Management Committee meeting. 45. General financial matters. On behalf of the Management Committee, the Treasurer must, as soon as practicable, after the end date of each financial year, ensure a financial statement for its last reportable financial year is prepared. The income and property of the association must be used solely in promoting the association's objects and exercising the association's powers. 46. Documents. The Management Committee must ensure the safe custody of books, documents, data, passwords, instruments of title and securities of the association. 47. Financial year. The end date of the association's financial year will be the same as the Australian federal end of financial year. 48. Distribution of surplus assets to another entity. 1. This rule applies if the association A. is wound up under Part 10 of the Act, and B. has surplus assets. The surplus assets must not be distributed among the members of the association. The surplus assets must be given to another entity chosen by membership vote. A. having objects similar to the association's objects, and B. the rules of which prohibit the distribution of the entity's income and assets to its members. In this rule, surplus assets see Section 92(3) of the Act.
Okay, so that is the read-through of the Constitution. You can contact me at pointlookoutfc@gmail.com, and we have some social medias: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the website now at pointlookoutfishingclub.com, and there's going to be more work going on to that. I'll be setting up a merchandise store for our custom fishing clothes and brag mats or fish measurers and all sorts of stuff as we move forward. So yeah, hopefully there's not too many errors and you understood all of that. And yeah, but if there's anything, please reach out, take notes, and help us make the Constitution as fair and accurate and relevant to all the members as possible, so we can move forward with confidence, all knowing what we have to do, and then we can have some fun, catch some fish, and look after the community, each other, and the environment all at the same time. So, thanks for putting up with this read-through. And yeah, see you at the next meeting at the Point Lookout Bowls Club, October 1st.